I've not been able to stop thinking about last night's JJK chapter, so I wanted to kind of just get on here and yap about a couple things. So let's get into it. Spoiler warning. I mean, just look at this domain. This fan art is beautiful, by the way. Go give that man a follow. I don't understand how you guys put these out so quickly, but yeah, phenomenal. But this domain, man, just blew my mind. Like, what is going on here? I've been out there collecting raw translations like I'm Thanos and the Infinity Stones, man, because I just want to know exactly all the information we have to talk about what's going on here. And again, it'll probably be one of those things where we need the official to come out so that then we have the high quality scans and, the trusted translators in the community can give us the full breakdown. But yeah, this isn't a situation like last week where there are disputing translations. There's just not, we just don't have enough information. So, but what we can glean is that the wordage used here is that like Sukuna threw this together with a box of scraps in a cave, binding vows and duct tape. So what does that mean exactly? Like, has he somehow like found a new path to the domain, which, is not the typical way? And something I said in my leaks video last night was I wonder if he somehow like used portions of different things to kind of construct this pseudo domain, and maybe one of those things was part of the 10 shadows. Now, I don't want to get confusing here and I don't want to get long-winded, but this is something I mentioned in my leaks video because it looked like the big spine was kind of part of it, the same one we see in Megami's incomplete domain, right? But there were fake leaks last night that talked about Sukuna using the 10 shadows, and those were fake. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just purely speculating. Could he have thrown this together piecemeal and used part of the 10 shadows to create his malevolent shrine? Not that he was like using the 10 shadows technique as the domain or anything. Anyways, yeah, I just want to know what's going on here. But interestingly, in one of the translations, one of the most trusted that I've found, this one guy mentions that Sukuna learned something from Gojo, and that's how he put this together. So, we know Gojo was out there manipulating his domain on the fly in the domain clashes with Sukuna, so apparently Sukuna learned something from that. What's also interesting is, as you can see, he's missing both of his hands over here, and Sukuna's typical hand sign for his malevolent shrine is Inmaten, which is a two-handed hand sign. Here he's only using one, so I wonder if that's partially what he learned from Gojo, since Gojo is the only person in the series that we're aware of that has a one-handed domain. So that could be part of it, part of, just changing the binding vows and restrictions on the fly could be part of what he learned from Gojo. But yeah, there wasn't a Gojo flashback, but interestingly, some pretty important Gojo mentions once in the RCT rewiring in the brain from hitting the black flashes to now the domain rewiring. So yeah, just super interesting. Sukuna once again sees somebody else do something and can instantly do it, and Gojo just being built different from the jump. So yeah, I want to know what's going on with this domain, like the fact that he reconstructed it, which is why it only lasted 99 seconds, and also why it had the hole in it, which is what Yuji was looking at in that first artwork I showed, also by the same guy, by the way. Yeah, so I don't know. I just wanted to get y'all's thoughts on it. Like, what do you think this creature is? Do you think this is like pieces of everything Sukuna has learned to put together this Hail Mary domain, or is it like the truest form of his domain? The only reason I don't think that is because of all the language about how he had to throw this together. But I guess both things could potentially be true. But yeah, I just haven't been able to stop thinking about this aspect of this. So I really want to hear y'all's thoughts. But yeah, I love that the Honored One is still making an impact on this fight, even though it's for the worst, considering it's Sukuna that is stealing a tactic from him. But I just really like this because ever since we know that Sukuna can like look at something and learn it once and put his own spin on it, like learning how to turn himself into the cursed objects from Kenjaku, copying the Maharaga adaptation, of course. But I wanted him to pick up something from Gojo because it's kind of like a badge of honor, right? If Sukuna takes something from you, then, you must have been good at it. So I love that he learned something about domains from Gojo. And then citing back to the first Gojo reference in this chapter about the new pathway of RCT, that's really interesting because that could have been used, simply to explain why Sukuna hadn't healed in the same way Gojo did. And again, it was because of all the black flashes Yuji gave him. But still, I don't know if we needed the nuanced explanation that like a new pathway to RCT had been carved, and that's how you get your RCT back with black flashes. So it could provide yet another avenue for a potential Gojo comeback because, you know, his body was surging and had just created a new pathway for RCT. So combined with everything else, the man also has that going for him to potentially be healed. Also, you can't tell me it wouldn't be a cool juxtaposition to have just seen what Sukuna learned from Gojo to then see what Gojo maybe learned from Sukuna. Then one other thing I couldn't stop thinking about is that double spread panel where the top half of the page is all of the destruction from the domain and the bottom half is all of the heroes trying to withstand it. Well, in the Maki panel, there's somebody else with her, but the image is so rough that it was hard to tell. But I think it's Miwa, which is kind of crazy. And the only explanation I can come up with is either there's some secret part of the plan that involves Miwa, but I doubt that's it, or she's using simple domain to help protect Maki from this domain expansion since Maki wouldn't be able to do simple domain due to her heavenly restriction, right? But the only thing that combats that is there was some translated line during leaks that was like the narrator or Sukuna saying that like Maki wasn't caught in the domain because of her heavenly restriction. So if she wasn't caught in the domain, then she wouldn't need the simple domain, right? But maybe she like willingly entered to like try to get closer to Sukuna or something, because we think that Sukuna's domain, from what we know about it, would be able to target Maki due to the fact that it can target inanimate objects with slashes, right? Things that don't have cursed energy, rather, is a better way to put it. So that line that said Maki wasn't trapped in the domain initially confused me. So maybe that was a mistranslation. Maki was in the domain and Miwa came into simple domain to help her. Now, how did she get there so fast? I don't know. Maybe, you know, we teleported her or something. But in any case, if that's what happened, useless no more. Like clutch MVP level move. So let me know your thoughts on that. Do y'all have any ideas on what was going on or who that was with Maki in that panel? It really does seem to be Miwa. So yeah, hit me with y'all's theories on what was going on there. Before we go, here's one more badass piece of fan art that I saw that is like the POV of what Yuji saw when he looked up at Sukuna. And can you imagine? This is absolutely terrifying. And this spine here is what reminded me of the thing in Megami's domain. So could there be something there, or is this just coincidental? Anyways, let me know what y'all's thoughts are on all of this. I'll still be doing my regular chapter review later this week once the chapter officially comes out, but I just had to get these thoughts out for now. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.